So what we're not the punctuality police, right? Unless you want somebody showing up and following you around and giving you 5 burpees for every time you show up 5 minutes late for something, then just leave your members alone, okay? You're not their mom, you're not their dad, you're not in charge of like when they show up and when they don't show up. All right, guys, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez. We are here at CrossFit Rife. Today's episode is about not being a dick, okay? So this is about how to handle athletes or members that come in late for class. It happens all the time. We have like 200 and some odd members here. People show up late occasionally. Now, I have empathy to this scenario because I've been around the community almost 10 years. In the days of old, we would punish people and we would give them 10 burpees or 5 burpees for every minute that you're late. That time is gone, okay? You do not need to do that. So here's my recommendation for what you should do when people show up late. You should look at them. You should smile. You should say, hey, thanks for showing up today. It's good to see you, okay? You should welcome them into the gym, okay? So what we're not the punctuality police, right? Unless you want somebody showing up and following you around and giving you 5 burpees for every time you show up 5 minutes late for something, then just leave your members alone, okay? You're not their mom, you're not their dad, you're not in charge of like when they show up and when they don't show up. Now, I do understand that we want them to show up on time so that they can get the WOD briefing and we can avoid follow-on questions and we can facilitate our lesson plan and all of those things. I get it. You can still facilitate all of that. And if people show up late, that's fine. And if they show up late chronically, then pull them aside and have a conversation with them and tell them, hey, I'd really like for you to show up on time so that you can get that, because tell them what happens to you as a coach when they show up late. Let them know like, hey, when I do this, I have to answer questions again. It really slows down the timeline for the class and it affects everybody else's class when you show up late and we have to redo all of this over again. So in here, we start the class. If the class is at 4 p.m., we start at 4 p.m. If somebody shows up and it's still early enough in the class to get them in the class, we'll get them in the class. They will catch on to what's happening. Okay, you can get them up to speed. Now, as a coach, you should have a cutoff time, meaning if they show up 20 minutes into the warm-up, probably the answer is no, and you should figure out what that is. And it's not a certain time frame, because every class timeline is different, every lesson plan is different. I've had people show up 11 minutes late and they were just fine getting into the warm-up because I gave a 6-minute brief and then I sent everybody on, a 400-meter jog, and then from there they had only missed like a couple minutes of the warm-up. So it depends on what the class is. So make a game time decision. Do you feel confident that you can train them and warm them up safely in order to have them do the workout? Okay, so it's not like if you show up within 10 minutes, it's okay or it's not okay. It depends on the class. Okay, but at the end of the day, this should be the best hour of their day. And if they're dreading showing up because you're a jerk or they're going to do burpees and everybody, you're going to put them on the spot, that's just not the type of environment that you want to foster in your gym. They'll show up on time. If you really want people to show up on time, start your class on time. And a lot of these scenarios and gym owners that I've talked to, they don't start the class on time. So if you don't start on time, you should have zero expectation that they should show up on time. So start the class on time. If they come in, say, hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for showing up. I'm super pumped that you're here. Let's get to it. And then move on from there. You do not have to make a spectacle of it. You are not their parent. You are not their life coach. Well, you might be in some scenarios, but that's not your job. Your job is to train them, not to get them to show up places on time. So really try to wrap your brain around that and realize that there is a good way to facilitate that conversation and there is a bad way to facilitate that conversation. The days of old of burpees and stuff like that, that is the bad way to facilitate that conversation. The new way is figure out how to get them up to speed, figure out what an appropriate time for somebody to come into the class is based on the workout and the lesson plan and all of those things, and figure out what that's going to be for you. So hope this helps. This is something that's been going on for a long time, and I think there's a lot of conversation we had about it, but largely just let them into the class, okay? It should be fun. You should make it fun for them. All right, guys, hope this content helps. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and drop those into the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.